Hello, in this video we're going to look at part 3 of the listening paper in the Cambridge English First for Schools exam. Part 3 is the multiple matching task, where you'll listen to 5 speakers talking on a topic and you have to match what they say with one of 8 possibilities. Before you listen, it's really important that you read the rubric, the instructions, as carefully as possible. Cambridge kind of hide the question in the rubric. It is mentioned on the listening, but most people are too distracted and focused on what's in front of them. But it's really crucial that you know exactly what you're listening for. So if you have a look now at page 63 in the PDF, if you haven't got the PDF yet, the link is in the description below, along with the MP3s for the listening itself. We're looking at sample paper 2. So if you have a look at that paper, it says, you will hear 5 short extracts in which teenagers are talking about their hobbies. For questions 19 to 23, choose from the list A to H what each speaker likes most about their hobby. Use the letters only once. There are 3 extra letters which you do not need to use. So the question itself is buried in the middle of that text, and if you aren't paying attention, you might miss that, especially the word most. You might just listen for what they like, but that's not quite right. We want what they like most about their hobby. So before the first speaker, you have about 30 seconds or so to read through the different options and think about them a little bit. Now, you won't hear exactly the same words as you're listening. Instead, you will hear words connected with these ideas, and you'll have the ideas themselves changed into synonymous expressions. So these are words or expressions that mean the same thing. So as you're listening, try to think about which one of these matches best, and then use the second listening to check your answer or to change it for something else. So try the task, and when you're ready, come back and we'll have a look at it together. Okay, so let's look at speaker 1. The answer we want for speaker 1 is C, the chance to be creative. They're talking about unicycling, and he says what makes unicycling so cool is that you can make up your own tricks on it, like hopping and jumping. And if you make up something, you're being creative. So of the different options here, the one we want is this idea of being creative. Speaker 2 talks about H, which is not having to take it too seriously. They're talking about dancing, and at the end they say they're really aimed at people like me who don't want to study every type of dance, but who'd just like to enjoy themselves, and you make friends too. Maybe one day I'll be good enough to enter a dance competition, but I'm not counting on it. So if we take all of that and we analyze it, or we try to look at why they've said this, then we can see that it's this idea of not being too serious about something, which is why we get the answer H. For speaker 3, the answer we want is D, entering competitions. So here the person's talking about photography as a hobby. And they say, I think learning about photography is a great hobby for me because we have an opportunity to put our photos in competitions too. And that's what makes it really worthwhile. And then for speaker 4, the answer we want is F. F is how people react to it, to the hobby. Here they say about singing, I get a real buzz from seeing the look on their faces when it's my turn to sing. They're talking about the reaction of their friends to their singing. And then finally, for speaker 5, the answer we want is A, the challenge of getting it right. They're talking about cooking, and at the end they say, I do find some recipes demanding, but that's the fun of it for me. Like baking cupcakes, if I keep trying again and again, I'll get better and better. So they want to get it right, and they find it difficult. So challenge connects with this idea of it being difficult. Okay, so what we've learned then is that we don't really hear the same expressions. Maybe we do with competitions, for example, but generally we don't hear the same words and expressions used from the questions in the listening itself, so we have to look for other ways of saying the same thing. We have to be careful that we don't get distracted by something, and sometimes we have to understand the whole listening to get the idea of what the person's talking about. In the next video, we'll be looking at part 4 of the listening paper, which is the multiple choice listening. So until then, thank you and goodbye.